A wildlife administrator at an airport can escort a deer off the airfield. They can keep a family of ducks away from the airport's wet pond. They can even shoo off wayward raccoons hiding in terminal buildings. What they can't do is deal with honeybees. In August 2012, hundreds of thousands of honeybees swarmed the body of a Delta plane heading to New York City. It happened when the crew was preparing to fuel the aircraft and load the luggage. It was time for master beekeeper Stephen Rapaski to come into play. At that time, it was already the fourth swarm the airport had to deal with in the past few months. And when in May 2012, more than 15,000 bees covered a light on taxiway C, it caused a serious flight delay. That's when the airport's wildlife administrator started to Google nearby beekeepers. Luckily, he came across Mr. Rapaski, who was later employed as a contractor. An ostrich babysitter's job is mostly stopping little ostriches from running off or pecking at one another. These specialists spend hours on end sitting and observing their charges. This work is far from simple and relaxing, though. Ostriches are known for being territorial and quick to anger. If they feel threatened, they can even charge at a person. An ostrich babysitter can never leave their guard down. Otherwise, one of the birds they're responsible for will immediately get into trouble. A legal bank robber is also called a penetration tester. These people test if banks have an appropriate level of security. In the past, the profession was rather straightforward. You had to literally break into a bank. These days, fake robbers still exist. But there are also specialists who check computer security and deal with identity theft. They can even impersonate police officers and try to install surveillance cameras in the vaults. A scuba diving pizza delivery person works in an underwater hotel in Florida. This specialist dons their scuba gear and sets off on the mission. They supply hotel guests with freshly baked hot pizza carried through the sea in a watertight container. A pet food tester's job is a combination of a researcher and a tester. It's often someone with a doctoral degree. This specialist doesn't taste pet food, they test it. They mainly analyze the food's nutritional value. They write all kinds of reports and look for ways to improve the already existing foods. Before actually trying the food, a tester smells it. Not every pet owner will want their kitchen to reek of fish. After that, it's time for tasting food. Testers are supposed to evaluate its texture, consistency, and flavor. Once it's done and noted down, they spit out the food. A nail polish namer looks at a newly invented color of nail polish and tries to describe it in a couple of words. They either think of what it looks like or how it makes them feel. Not so long ago, NASA and the European Space Agency needed professional sleepers. These organizations were ready to pay each of the 24 volunteers aged between 24 and 55 more than $18,000. These people were supposed to spend 60 days lying in beds. They could read, play games on their phones, watch their favorite series. The only thing they couldn't do was get up. Plus, their beds had to be angled down toward the head end by 6 degrees. This way, scientists wanted to check how artificial gravity would affect the human body. One of the benefits of a golf ball diver's profession is working outdoors at all times. This person is in charge of collecting golf balls from the bottom of ponds on golf courses. It sounds like a simple and exciting job, but most of these ponds aren't taken care of regularly. That's why divers have to search for golf balls in muddy water with loads of algae. Sometimes they even have to deal with snakes. A coconut safety engineer protects people from getting hit on their heads by falling coconuts. The consequences of such accidents are usually extremely unpleasant. That's why a coconut specialist climbs palm trees, often towering up to 60 feet high, and picks ripened coconuts. This way, they don't fall down on the heads of unsuspecting tourists. A potato chip sorter searches for clumped or overcooked chips when those are moving down the assembly line. Once they see a piece that looks off, they immediately get rid of it. Amsterdam is one of the most bicycle-friendly cities in the world, and it's probably no wonder that hundreds of bicycles end up in the city's countless canals. Bicycle fishers pull more than 14,000 bikes out of the waterways every year. Most of these two-wheelers are old and rusty. A drying paint watcher is usually hired by a company to attentively observe the paint as it dries. They need to pay attention to any changes in the paint's color and texture. A skilled watcher should be able to do it both on the wall and under a microscope. This process helps to figure out how durable the paint is and make sure it won't fall off at the slightest touch. A drying paint watcher may also spend days painting sheets of cardboard. This helps to check new paint mixes, for example, how long it takes them to dry completely. A wrinkle chaser makes sure there are no unwanted wrinkles on shoes when they leave the factory. Their job description includes, for example, ironing wrinkles from shoes and shoe parts. To do that, a wrinkle chaser uses either a heated iron or a hot air blower. Sometimes it can be a special awl-shaped device. Paper towels have either a light pleasant aroma or no smell at all. A paper towel sniffer is the very person who makes sure of that. These specialists are hired by manufacturers who want to confirm their production doesn't have an undesirable stench. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to land this position. It's likely to be the tiniest job niche out there. It's a water slide tester's responsibility to check whether water slides in hotels and water parks are both fun and safe. Let's say you get yourself this job and start working as a water slide tester for a big travel agency or a hotel chain. Then you'll spend most of your time on the move, traveling from one water park to another. Once you're there, you change into some swimming outfit and make it to the pool. You're supposed to take tons of trips down the slide. Pay attention to how fast you get down, how much water the slide uses, and how exciting the entire experience is. Sunglasses doctors work at large tropical resorts. Their main tasks are cleaning sunglass lenses, tightening screws, and solving all kinds of eyewear-related crises guests might have. A sunglasses doctor usually patrols the hotel territory in the afternoon, wearing a utility belt with special tools. A furniture tester is a person who tests beds, including pillows and mattresses. Hotels and other companies hire these people to literally sleep at work. Even though it sounds like a dream job, a good bed tester has to know a lot. For example, how to check if a mattress has dips by laying on it in a special manner, or how to figure out whether the edges of a bed are sturdy enough to sit on. A chewing gum chewer, also called gumologist, spends their days chewing gum. They test its texture and flavor. They also need to describe how their mouth feels during and after the chewing process. Some days, a gum chewer has to blow lots of bubbles, depending on the stage of the project. But their main responsibility is researching and creating new flavors. If you don't have time to stand in line or you find this process boring and tiring, you can hire a professional line stander. For a fee, they'll replace you when you have a line for hours on end. For example, to get a sample sales item or a newly launched product. People with pretty hands, beautiful fingers, or nice feet can become body part models. Such professionals are often very well paid. They take part in photo shoots that advertise and promote particular products, for example, jewelry, nail polish, or hand cream. Dog surfing coaches are sometimes hired by hotels to teach guests' dogs how to surf. It turns out pooches often learn to surf much faster than their humans. Marmite tasters have to taste every batch of the famous food spread made from yeast extract. They check whether the product has the necessary texture and consistency. They also pay attention if its taste is within the range of acceptable Marmite flavors.